Good afternoon. You're watching NewsX and I'm Vaishali Kohli. Now, in the latest developments, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar has called for the safety of merchant shipping, highlighting the risks faced by Indian seafarers. He said every attack on a tanker is likely to involve Indian crew members and noted that recent incidents have resulted in fatalities among Indian nationals, stressing the urgent need for international measures to protect maritime personnel. He said there has got to be adequate recognition in the country about the interest of our people, the merchant mariners, and what we could be doing to safeguard them. Dr. S. Jaishankar spoke on the recent maritime incidents in the Indian Ocean, emphasizing humanitarian action over legal disputes. He said one ship carrying many young cadets faced difficulties while approaching India and was allowed to dock in Kochi on March 1. He highlighted that circumstances changed drastically from when the ship set out and noted a similar tragic incident in Sri Lanka. Dr. S. Jaishankar also addressed social media debates, urging people to understand the complex realities of the Indian Ocean and stressed that India acted appropriately from a humanitarian perspective. Let's listen in.
They were reporting that they were having problems. So my recollection is this was on the 28th. On the 1st, we said, okay, you can come in. It took them a few days to sail in. Then they docked in Kochi. The ship is there. Obviously, the people on the ship, a lot of them were young cadets, that is my understanding. They have disembarked. They are in a nearby facility. So we viewed this, look, this ship or these ships, because there were two others as well. I mean, when they set out and came here,
A very warm welcome to you, Major General G.G. Dwivedi, a defense expert, and Ambassador Mahesh Sachdev, who's a former diplomat. Major G.G. Dwivedi, Major General, pardon me, Dwivedi, I want to come to you first, and I'd like your comments on what we've just shared with our viewers.
Firstly, Vaishali, always a pleasure to be on NewsX. Well, the issue which have been addressed by the Foreign Minister is very sensitive, very critical, and a very live issue. As today, the war is being fought in multiple domains. It is in the air, it's on the seaboard. So therefore, now this issue has become very critical, especially when there were the incidents where the Iranian naval ship, Dana, was targeted by the American submarine, and there were almost 80 odd fatal casualties. So therefore, what has happened is that this Indian Ocean region is now very much part of the war theatre or the war zone. And criticality is that almost 30% of the global trade passes through the Indian Ocean. It's a very important sea line of communication, what we call SLOCs. And therefore, there are thousands of ships which any one time are transiting. And that means that the security of the merchant mariners, merchant shipping has become very critical. And this point has been very aptly raised because a lot of Indians are sailing on the ships, and therefore it is a cause of concern, and especially in the Gulf region, because where it's a major oil supply lines, almost 20% oil is flowing through the Strait of Hormuz, and India accesses about 50% of it, is very concerning to all of us. Now, Vaishali, there are 2-3 important issues. Firstly, in the war, at many times the civilian targets also become victim, because in the heat of war it's very difficult to identify which is the warship, which is the merchant ship, and many times the merchant ship also are disguised in the form of warships. So that is one issue. Secondly, there is a convention, that United Nations Convention on the Law of Seas. It defines the legalities, it defines the functionalities. Now that has to be implemented in letter and spirit, because no one country can provide security in Indian Ocean. It's such a vast ocean, and there are number of bases in Indian Ocean which have been militarized, like Dego Gasha, Djibouti, Habantota. So the point is, I think the world has to come together and ensure that there is some framework, and the UN, convention on law seas is strictly implemented, and this is for the larger good of the merchant shipping, and also so that the non-war vessels are not targeted. Vishali.